All right, so this training is, I just called it Flipping AI Websites for Profits. But simply it's the process you're going to walk through to basically sell AI websites, simple AI websites to local businesses for money. Use that as a side hustle, use it as a full-time business, whatever you want to do, and ultimately grow that to whatever you want it to be. And um, the process is very simple. We're going to go over the steps, and then we're going to actually demo kind of everything. And it's important to understand that this right here, again, is the springboard to building a very successful business. Again, even if you want to keep it as a side hustle, you can easily do this on the side. It's very time convenient. It's definitely budget convenient because pretty much all this is free. And then also technical skill convenient because you don't really need any technical skill. It's very, very, very simple because we have the power of AI to guide us and to help us kind of do the stuff that before we'd have to be kind of very technically smart to accomplish. That's all gone now in the age of the AI. So we're going to use that to build a business. And again, there's a side piece to the, or there's a bonus add-on piece to this that I'll cover when we get to the end here. But basically, I'm going to go through the process. We'll talk through this, and then we'll just demo it. Okay, very simple. All right. So again, first and foremost, I like to say this business is comprised of 3 steps, right? We're going to find a business, offer them our services, and then provide the services. That's simple, right? That's all that is happening at any point in time. So again, even if I didn't have a roadmap to guide me along this process, I can just keep in mind the steps. I always know where I am in the process. So when I wake up every day, right, I know what I should be doing. So if I'm just getting started and I'm waking up, getting started on my business today, well, what's the first thing I need to be doing? I need to find a business. I got to find an opportunity. Then once I found a business, I'm going to offer them my services. And then through that conversation, if they agree to my services, then I provide the services, right? So that's the overview, bird's eye view of what's happening any given day in my business, right? So very easy to understand. Now, let's take that into more detailed explanation of what we're actually doing here. So first and foremost, we're going to find a business looking for a website or has a potential need for a website. Why website? We've talked about this before, because websites are just a great foot in the door. And that's all we're really trying to do. We're trying to get our foot in the door with some type of offer that business owners would need or want. And so why business owners? Right? Because they have money, right? And so we can sell our services to just a few business owners and make good money for either a side hustle or something we want to turn into a full-time business. Now, back to the website piece, something a business owner would need and want. Why does website fit that? Well, a lot of times, as an agency, as a marketing consultant, wanting to do, or an SMMA, right? That's one of the big buzzwords has always been around. Like people want to start those types of businesses, right? That's kind of business we're in, right? We're in a marketing consultancy, marketing agency type business. But one of the things that we have to keep in mind in that type of business is business owners don't always think as marketing as a needed, required thing, right? And if you've ever tried to do this before, and got into conversations, you'll find a lot of business owners like, no, I want to save money. I'm gonna do my own advertising. Or I got one of those guys spinning a sign out the sidewalk. That's all I need, that kind of stuff, right? They kind of like to talk about marketing services, not all of them, but a lot of business owners, they don't budget it for it initially anyway, right? A lot of businesses just get their business going. They have a great idea. They open up their doors and they're like, all right, let's get rocking. But they don't ever plan on, all right, well, how am I going to get people to come? Right? If I open my business, people are just magically going to find me. No, it's not the way it works. And a lot of business owners don't think that far ahead. And they've already spent all their money during the setup. So they're not making money. So they're like, okay, well, I don't really have a budget for marketing. Right. So that happens, can happen in trying to sell marketing services as a marketing agency. And although there's other businesses out there that are the opposite of that, they know they need to invest in marketing, or they're already, got some momentum. They've already opened, they got a little success. They had some word of mouth, but they're really looking to grow it. Those are out there, but I would like to tap in with my business. If I want to set myself up different from the others, I would like to tap into something, an offer that a majority of business owners feel is a need versus, a half and half scenario or even less. And a website fits that bill perfectly, because a website, after a business picks their name, right? After a business owner kind of knows what they want to do. Yeah, I want to be this type of business. And all right, I'm going to call myself this business name or whatever. This is my business name. After that, one of the first three things that happens is they plan on getting a website. They just, all right, I got to get a website built to get my business out there. That's my beacon to let everyone know that I exist, right? A website is one of the first three things a business owner will get in place after they've kind of decided on what it is they're doing and what their name is, right? So all business owners, for the most part, just naturally think that they need and or naturally want a website. So that's way better, potentially potential foot in the door than offering marketing services where way less than that amount, less than majority, right? Maybe half or even less, don't respect or put the same weight on marketing services. So we're going to tap into the psychology of them already needing and wanting a website and use that as our foot in the door. Now, years ago, we wouldn't have necessarily done this, and we have started our conversations with marketing services, specifically easy ones to implement with great ROI, but it still takes some convincing, because again, marketing services aren't categorized the same as like a website. But years ago, websites were very difficult to build. You needed like a coding mind, even though there's, been platforms out there. Just websites have always been a little bit more technical than most things. Well, AI has now eliminated all that. Okay. So that leads us to our next step. Once we find a business that's looking for a website or has a potential need, well, we don't need to be some coding genius anymore. Now we can just use AI to build them a demo website. And we're going to do that as a results first strategy. Okay. We are not going to try to sell them a website and then deliver the website. We are going to show them a finished website first. And it's counterintuitive because like, well, that's, we're kind of doing it first. Well, here's the thing. AI allows us to do this in minutes. So it's very easy for us to do a results first, show a demo and put it in their face versus just saying, I could do something. Okay. So we're going to use AI to build this website and reach out and offer them that website, which again, we'll use AI to actually help create that message. But the whole psychology of this process is a lot of times when people are trying to sell something, objections will get in the way of that. And objections aren't inherently bad. They're essentially questions that someone has. And that shows that there's some interest, but they have some reservations. No big deal. But the less of those we have, the easier the sales process is. Well, if I can show a result first, well, it eliminates any objections related to me being able to do it in the first place, right? Well, have you done this before with anyone else, right? That's something that can pop up if I'm selling services, for example. Well, have you done this before with anyone else? Well, if I'm just getting started, I might have little to no experience yet. Okay. So I have to come up with some creative answers to kind of show that, hey, I'm in this and like, oh, here's why this is going to work for you and all this other good stuff. Well, I eliminate that if I show them a result first. And because websites are very easy and very visual, it's very easy for me to do that. I can just show it to them and they can look at it. So there is no, well, have you ever built a website for say I'm interacting with a plumber? Have you ever built a website for a plumber? Let me see your portfolio of websites. I'd like to see. That's all out the window because I just showed them the website specifically, one tailored to them, one customized really to them. So there is no, well, have you ever built a website? Now it's, well, okay. Now what happens is they're looking at the result and they're analyzing the result versus wondering if you could do something for them. So it's a very strong psychological factor to help drive more sales versus the old way of doing things. And so now what they're doing, I'm also playing in a sales psychology element, if you will, where they're already putting themselves in the final product versus wondering what it could look like. So for example, if I see something on Instagram, I'm flashing, I'm scrolling, I forgot the word. I'm scrolling through and I see an ad for, some cool new sunglasses that have come out. Well, what's the natural tendency? Natural tendency is I'm gonna look at that and try to imagine what I look like in those sunglasses. I see them, I'm like, oh man, I maybe look pretty cool in those sunglasses. That gets me into those things versus, just seeing a text ad saying sunglasses, right? I don't see any sunglasses. I wonder what they might look like, all this stuff. When I see a picture of the model wearing the sunglasses, now I'm like, man, that could be me wearing those sunglasses. And I'm picturing what I might look like, what accessories I might wear with it to look cool in these sunglasses. Well, we're doing the same thing when we show them the website. Okay. Now it's not them wondering what a website could look, or I show them a portfolio that, I'm talking to a plumber, but I show them, I never built one for a plumber, but I have a chiro website, and they're looking at this chiropractor website and they're trying to imagine what it might look like for them. It's hard for them to imagine. Now what's happening is we are looking at a finished product that's already kind of customized to them. It's no longer wondering what it could be. Now they're picturing their business in that website, right? They're saying, oh, I like this. I would maybe I'd maybe put our logo over here. Now they're dressing up the website already, kind of making it their own, right? That's a way more powerful sales psychological impact, if you will, for me kind of jumbling these words together. But in the end, that's very strong sales psychology right there, because now they're almost taking ownership of this website now versus wondering what it could be and challenging me on things that I have or haven't done. Now it's a whole different conversation. Okay. So this increases the odds of conversion, increases our conversion rate. Again, doing it versus doing this traditional way. All right. So all that makes sense. So very simple. Find a business looking for a website or has a potential need. Use AI to build them a demo website. Again, a results first strategy. And then we're just going to reach out offering them the website. Okay. So let's just demo what this looks like. All right, so I'm going to find the need first. Am I still live? You guys see me? All right, I'm going to find the need first, okay? And so if I'm find a business looking for a website, I can find a business looking for a website or potentially needs the website or has a potential need, okay? So what's the difference in that? Well, finding someone who's looking for a website, right? That's someone who's literally asking for a website. And that's very simple, right? I can go to a place like Upwork, Freelancer, Guru, these places online where business owners 24/7 are going, posting, asking for some sort of help. That might be graphic design. It might be marketing services or services of some sort. It might be admin work, or it might be websites, someone looking for a website or website redesign. Okay, so we're going to let's go to Upwork. It's one of the biggest ones. And we'll just look at example, what I'm talking about. Just share the screen, go to Upwork. All right, so we're here on Upwork. Let's just go. All right, so we're going to browse jobs. Okay, and all we're going to do is we're going to come up here, look for jobs related to web. Again, there's all kinds of, I'm going to do web design. Of course, there's different ways. You can search all these different ones. You're usually going to find the same results, but sometimes they're slightly different. Some people might put web developer versus web design. In the end, let's just go to web design because it's in general what we're looking for. And really all we're doing is we're looking for, this is sorted by relevance. I would sort by newest, but I am going to just point out, like, all we're doing is we're looking for something simple like this, a website. I'm DC Contracting and Building Corp, home renovations, extensions, kitchens, bathrooms, additions, full service contracting service. These folks are looking for basically a website. That's all we're looking for. But all these platforms work the same. They're going to list out different categories. I'm just going to look for the web design, and I'm going to sort it by the newest. And the beautiful thing is they're just constantly being posted all the time. Okay. So this is sorted by newest, and you can see here 1 minute ago, 3 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago. Okay. And you can see over and over and over again, we're looking for all kinds of, or people are asking for all kinds of different projects. All I'm doing is I'm looking for very simple projects to complete. And how would I know it's simple to complete? Because it's very straightforward. Again, if we go back here to relevance, these guys right here, okay, it's not going to, because I'm not logged in. They're just asking for a website. They're telling you about their business. Okay, that's very simple. I don't have to guess. All right, these guys want a new website for their business. All right. Whereas if I look at this thing, UX focused web designer needed for SaaS site design, in the end, all they're kind of saying is we're looking for a web designer specialized in doing these kind of things and other visual. They're talking about LinWorks has all. If I at any point start getting lost, that means it's over my head and I can just move on. Okay. Because there's tons more of these projects. I just want the simple stuff. Okay. Here's another one. Website. I'm looking for experienced web developer to build a ticket selling website for me. That's all I'm looking for. Very simple and straightforward. Okay. Design a farm stay website, includes tours, weddings, and events. Easy. Okay. As soon as it starts talking about all kinds of crazy things that I really don't understand, cool. I'm just move on. Okay. And we got this. Oh, here's one. They're outdoor living. They want a website redesign. So that's all I'm doing. I'm looking for the simple projects. And if I, maybe today I only see like 2 or 3. Cool. Tomorrow I might see 10. The next day I might see 1. It's okay, because every day there's new projects being posted. And this is just one of many sites. So this is a very easy example of people looking for a website already. I don't have to guess. They're literally saying, I have money. Can I give it to someone to build me a website? Yeah, I would be happy to take that. All right. The next group is potential need. Well, potential need is kind of hard in and of itself to just say, all right, well, how do I know this person needs a website? So I can look for cues, right? I can go to something like Google Maps. And in this case, I just searched Salt Lake City in Utah, and I just did plumbers. Okay. I can start with the lowest hanging fruit by simply going here to the businesses in the maps and going down here to where it says more businesses to the complete maps listings. And for one, I can start looking at all these websites. Okay. Now I would say anyone on page 1 more than likely is getting plenty of business and tons of business. And they may or may not be thinking about a website. That's the thing. I never know. I don't know if Rare Breed Plumbing here, who has nearly a 5-star. How about these guys? They have 5 stars, Copper Peaks Plumbing, 382 reviews, so tons of reviews, 5 stars. Just because they're doing really well, I don't know if they've been thinking about, we've been thinking about getting our website refreshed. So I want to point out that I can easily just start reaching out to any of these people, and any of them are really a potential need. I mean, in the end, I don't know if they do, but they potentially want a new website or a website redesign. Okay. But I can increase the odds and chances of getting a more relevant or meaningful conversation going if I start looking for the people who don't have a website listed. Okay. Again, most people have a website, even if it's not listed here. They have a website, just Google maybe didn't scrape it or something or find it completely. But I don't care about that. What I care about is it opens up the opportunity for me to start a conversation. Okay. So I can just easily quickly scroll as a first me just starting to do this. I can just go ahead and start scrolling and just find the first one that doesn't have a website. Here's one right here. Ace Plumbers in West Valley. Okay. Now they have 5-star reviews, 54 reviews, 10 years in business. They probably do have a website, But again, I don't care. All I'm looking for is conversations, because you never know when someone actually is looking for a website or website redesign other than looking at the job posting sites. Okay. So this right here is a great example of a potential need opportunity, because I can start the conversation, but hey, I was in the Google Maps listings looking at plumbers, and I didn't see you have a website, right? So I can open up the conversation using that to get me in. And so I can find in any city, in any niche, tons of businesses like this. And you're going to find a mix of some people who don't have a website, or they have one, but it's so crappy that some reason it didn't pick it up, or it just starts the conversation and they want a new website anyway. Okay. So I can start with that right away. And then you have people like this who don't have nothing, they have no directions, they have no, so there's an endless supply of these people across the country, and in any country around the world. There's an endless supply of these across multiple niches and multiple locations. Okay. So once I've identified a website, we'll just go back and we'll just say it's this guy here, DC Contracting Building Corp. Okay. The next thing is to build the website, right? And so all I'm going to do is use my trusty software app, Lovable. Again, millions of them at this point in time. We use Lovable, been using Lovable since it's kind of came out, and it's one of the more developed ones, and it's very simple to use. Okay. But in the end, it's whatever makes the most sense for you. We teach Lovable, so that's what we're showing. Okay. So we're going to go to Lovable, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I'm not going to share, but all I'm doing is going to go back and grab. See if I can highlight that. All I'm going to do is I highlighted the words in Upwork, and I'm just going to paste them in here. Okay. And I'm just going to simply say, I need a local, professional, local business website built for the following Upwork project. Okay. I can make this prompt as detailed as I want to be. And again, in the training, we give you a very detailed prompt that you can use to get a great version right away. But I can just simply say something like this. I just want to show that just using AI, like I can just simply type something very simple, and AI makes things so easy that it's going to do this amazing work for me. And I needed to do little to nothing and know little to nothing other than what the want was. Okay. So it's going to go ahead and put together a website. It knows exactly what to do. It knows exactly, what kind of areas are important for the website, like a services area, why choose us, a contact. It's going to have footer details and information. And again, the more detailed the project is, the more detail AI and Lovable here has. It's going to build the perfect website based on that project. Now, it's important to understand, I'm not looking to deliver the perfect final I'm not looking to show them this and them say, yep, that's it. Here's the money. That's probably not going to happen. So if it does, then wow, amazing first shot at it. But all I'm trying to do is show them something along the lines of what they're asking for. What I would expect when I show them this is they're going to look at this and say, yeah, that's basically kind of what we want. Here's some changes that I would make for this. I want them to pretty much have 75 to 80% solution done already. Whereas other people are telling them, well, yeah, I can do this for you. Here's my portfolio. I've already given them essentially an 80% done delivered product based on what they want already. I'm already separating myself from the pack. I'm already ahead of the pack, because now the changes coming back aren't going to be major, because I've already put together the major pieces of the website. And again, all that's going to happen is, kind of future pacing this is, if they want to work with me, they're going to give me, all right, here's the things I would want to change, and here's how I move. I'm just going to keep copying and pasting back in here in the Lovable for Lovable to continue to update the site based on their specifications, exactly what it is that they want. Okay. But the beautiful thing is because I'm delivering them, there's 80% done product. It's going to be slim to none. Whereas a lot of other web designers, they go back and forth, for months, it seems like sometimes these web designers, although they're probably faster now these days with all the tools and stuff, but we're just ahead of the game because we've already got, again, an 80 to 90% done solution already, okay? So now it's done already in the few minutes I've been talking, and we're gonna see what the web, okay, there it is, okay, coming up. I'm gonna close the sidebar so we can just look, and look at this beautiful website. It just all done. And again, this can be continuously customized to the moon. Like anything that the client would end up really wanting from this, we can make happen, okay? So again, I'm not like we can have a page for each of these services if we wanted to. Okay. So in the end, I have my website done. Okay. Now the way I would make this go live so I can show them the link, because what I'm going to ultimately want to do, results first, right? So I got to show it to them somehow. I'm not going to describe it like, oh, I built this beautiful website. I'm actually going to show them this so they can actually go to the link and take a look. All I have to do is publish the the project. Okay. Now it's already given me a name here. I can call this DC Contracting Hub. And therefore, when I publish this, it's going to publish it on dccontractinghub.lovable.app. Okay. Anyone with a link can access this and continue. Okay. Now, what I can also do, here's the SEO kind of metadata right away. I don't need to worry about this at the moment, but it's there for me and I'll be able to update that later. It's saying, hey, is all this correct? Yes, I'm going to go ahead and publish. So I'm going to publish it. It's going to be live at that link. Now, I can also put this on a custom link. I can also put this on a custom domain. If I don't want it to say lovable.app, right, I can go buy a domain, yourdemosite.com or something like that. And then I can actually connect it to this, and Lovable will walk me through this so that I put it on a demo that instead says dccontractinghub.yourdemosite.com. And then I can keep using that same domain over and over and over again for future clients and future projects. So maybe the next project I see is for that ticket selling business or whatever that was, and say they're called Johnny's Tickets. Well, I can then, if I'm going to bid on that project, I can come here, have the site built, and put it on johnnystickets.yourdemosite.com. So I can keep using that same domain over and over and over again if I don't want to use the Lovable domain here. Okay. Either way, it's live now on this link. So the final step, right, is to reach out to the business with the offer, showing them the result, showing them the delivered product, essentially. Okay. So all I'm going to do, again, I can use AI for this as well. So now all I'm going to do is I need an Upwork proposal for a web design project for this web design project. I already built a demo website based on their project request and would like to highlight that in my proposal. And then that's simple. Again, I can be more detailed on this. We have, again, some training around this as well, but in the end, it's literally given me some options here that I can use based on whatever I feel the most comfortable with. And I can even talk to it to help me narrow this down. If I'm just like, oh, I really don't know, like, which one should I do? I could just start with option one and use this option one going forward, or I can, have a conversation with it and say, well, which one do you recommend based on, this or that? It's giving me pro tips, but as you can see, each one outlines, it's a solid proposal, and it gives me a place to put my link. Okay. So all I do is grab the link and then put it in there and submit it and send it. That's it. That's all I'm doing. And then again, I've talked about this before. AI is way smarter than I'll ever be and can identify and analyze trends and information and refine and can analyze data and refine information based on that constant analyzation of data. So what do I mean by that? In layman's terms, I mean, I can say I go ahead and use this one. Say I use option 1 and I send it. Okay. And I go about my day. I go into the next project and go on and on and on. Well, at some point in time in this process, might be today, might be tomorrow, might be next week, I'm going to get a response from somebody. I just will, just the law of numbers. Okay. Once I get a response to one, I can then come back here to chat, in this case, ChatGPT, but I can use any of the platforms to do this. And I can say, hey, I got a response from the DC contracting from our option 1 response that we used. Okay. And here's what they said, by the way. And so then what will happen is, in this case, ChatGPT is going to look at that information and say, okay, well, we used option 1, that got the response. So option 1 so far has been the best performer out of all the options I've provided so far. And also, here's what they said back. So here's the kind of information that they took from that. So I can maybe incorporate some other information in the option 1 response to help address those things and increase the chances to get more responses and to handle any objections right away. And then I keep feeding it back in. Eventually I get a project. Holy cow, I got a response and they awarded me the project. And here's the bid proposal that we used. And so again, it's going to look at that and say, okay, cool. Well, we just closed the project and here was the proposal that I gave them to use. And here's the conversation that happened. So I'm going to incorporate all that, make it even better. And so now when he asks me for a proposal, right? So now when I come in and need another proposal for a project, because I'm going to keep doing it in the same chat window every time I need a proposal, because now it's learning, it's getting smarter. It knows what it needs. It knows already the foundation information, so I don't have to give it backstory all the time. And then as we get responses, it'll keep getting smarter. Okay, cool. So here's going to be our proposal going forward. We're going to use this one because this one has all the elements that have succeeded the most for us so far. And it gets smarter and smarter and smarter. And that's it. That's the process. So whether I'm using a website builder like Upwork, or a job posting website like Upwork, Freelancer Guru, or I'm looking for the potential need businesses, right? Of going through Google Maps and looking at niches and locations, it doesn't matter. The process is the same. I ultimately build them a website using Lovable, very simple, AI-based, creates it in minutes, get a link, and then I'm going to come to my favorite AI platform, LLM platform, whether it's ChatGPT or Grok or Claude. There's 10 million of them. Whatever my favorite one is, and I come in, I'm going to create an outreach message from that and then submit. And then I just keep rinsing and repeating this process over and over and over again. I don't get tired of it. I don't get bored. I don't keep questioning it. I just keep doing it over and over and over again. And this is how I get my snowball built, get my snowball starting to build and getting rolling by simply doing this. This starts as a part-time thing because I can do this 24/7. And then as I get more clients, my bonus 4th option there of the steps, as I alluded to earlier, is I can then start selling marketing services now to any of these people that I've gotten already the foot in the door already, because now I've eliminated the whole, like, well, I don't know this person and marketing services, I don't know. I've now delivered a website. So the conversation easily pivots to, all right, well, what are you doing to get eyeballs on this website? What are you doing to get eyeballs on your business? Are you doing any kind of advertising or marketing? Because we can now start adding that in, right? I have some opportunities and options for that we can add in so that we can start getting eyeballs to this website. We can start getting eyeballs on your business and start increasing the sales and growing the sales from this with your, the website now in place. It's just an accelerant, right? Now it's like adding rocket fuel to the process. It's an easy pivot. It's an easy conversation now versus trying to come in straight at, right? And the even worst case scenario is they don't take me up on my marketing services. Well, cool. I got anywhere from $500 to $3,000 for this website. And I'm very happy to take that money and move on to the next. And also now have this client that I have that maybe doesn't want marketing services now, but maybe down the road they do. And or they also potentially have some referrals for me because business owners tend to know other business owners, right? So if anything, I now have a new referral source that I can tap into from time to time just by simply checking in on them, because I can check in on them because they were a client of mine. And that's it. That's the process over and over and over again. Make sense?